Hazel is a rock climber. She's packing bags for an expedition to Everest. Can you spot any extra items in her suitcase? It's unlikely that you would need these fancy high-heeled shoes in the mountains. Also, this fragile vase is useless on a hike. Hazel orders a taxi to go to the airport. She's using this app. There are 4 free cars in her neighborhood, but only one of them can reach Hazel's home. Can you tell which one? It's the 3rd car. Hazel arrives at the airport. She takes a closer look at her ticket and faints. Can you guess why? The name of the airport on the ticket doesn't match the airport that she's in. Hazel needs to go to the correct airport as quickly as possible. These 2 drivers are eager to give her a ride. Can you tell who will reach the destination faster? Although the second car looks more expensive and chic, it has a flat tire. Therefore, Hazel should choose the first driver. Finally, Hazel boards her flight. She falls asleep right away. She wakes up in a while and realizes that someone has stolen her phone. Hazel questions 3 suspects. Bill says, "I've been watching a movie within the last hour. I didn't look around. Sorry." Kyle says, "I was sleeping too until you woke me up." And Sheila says, "I'm afraid of flying, so I listened to soothing music with my eyes closed." Can you guess who stole Hazel's phone? Nobody. She just dropped it on the floor over here. See? It's dinner time. Kyle offers Hazel his dessert if she succeeds in guessing the date of his birth. Here's a hint. The day before yesterday, Kyle was 22, and next year, Kyle will be 25. Can you help Hazel solve this mystery? Today is the 1st of January, and Kyle's birthday was on the 31st of December. Therefore, Kyle was 22 on December 30th. Then he turned 23 on December 31st. This year, he will turn 24, and the next year, 25. Finally, Hazel lands in Nepal. She enters the baggage claim area and sees 3 odd things right away. Can you see them too? There's a dog in this bag. Animals don't come with regular luggage. This baggage cart lacks all wheels and floats in the air. And these boats are parked outside the window along with the planes. Hazel arrives at the meeting point for climbers at the local restaurant. But there's no one there. The cleaning lady says, "I was busy cleaning the toilet and just got back. I didn't see anyone." The guard says, "Oh yeah, the meeting has been delayed for tomorrow, that's for sure." And the waiter says, "I've been here all the time, and I haven't noticed any crowds of tourists." Who's lying? The guard. See this sign? The meeting takes place on the roof. That's why they didn't see the tourists. On the way to the roof, Hazel sees a woman who's cleaning a window on the 10th floor. Suddenly, she slips and falls. She doesn't have any safety equipment and nothing to soften her fall. But yet, she's not hurt. How can this be? The woman was cleaning the window inside the building. Finally, Hazel meets her group of climbers. But one of these people is an imposter. Can you guess who? This guy has tentacles instead of a hand. He's definitely not from this planet. Hazel goes on an expedition with the group. She stops to take some pictures and gets lost. In a while, Hazel finds 3 roads leading to the next mountain village. But every path hides some adventure. There's a hungry snow leopard walking on the first path. There's a herd of Himalayan yaks on the second path. And Road 3 leads through an avalanche risk area. Any movement can make the snow slide down. Which way is more or less safe? Hazel should choose the second path. Although these yaks look pretty scary, in fact, they're friendly plant eaters. Hazel checks into the local hostel. She leaves her bags in the room and goes to see the sights of the village. After a while, she returns and finds out that someone had stolen her passport. Hazel calls the sheriff and he interrogates 4 suspects. The hotel manager says, "I was dealing with a tourist group that has just arrived. I didn't notice any robbers." The hostel owner says, "I was dealing with a bathroom clog all day." The gardener says, "I didn't enter the hostel. I was watering the roses in the garden." And the cleaner says, "I was too busy feeding fish in the lobby. I didn't notice anything suspicious." Who's lying? The cleaner. Can you see any aquariums in the lobby? Hazel visits a local restaurant. The cook offers her 3 meals to choose from. Can you help her pick the safest option? There's a worm in these instant noodles, and there are too many flies around this rice. It's probably not very fresh. So, Hazel should choose this sandwich. In the village, Hazel meets the local guide, Luke. He offers to show Hazel the shortest way to the top. But first, Hazel has to solve his riddle. Luke and his wife have 7 children. Half of them are sons. How is this possible? Can you help Hazel solve this mystery? They are all sons. Luke and Hazel begin the trip. On the way, he offers Hazel to visit the local magic caves. Hazel agrees, but eventually she gets lost inside one of the caves. She wanders around for a while and finds these 3 tunnels. There's a portal to the sun in the first tunnel. There's a box with an ancient magic gemstone inside the second tunnel. This gemstone curses anyone who sees it. And finally, the third tunnel hides a bunch of poisonous scorpions. Which way should Hazel choose to survive? The second one. The gemstone is locked in the box, so Hazel should just walk by it. Hazel needs to cross this toxic swamp to continue her trip. The only way to do so is to jump from one block to another. Can you help her choose the last stone wisely? Each block has a particular number: 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, and 21. This sequence is formed by adding the number 4. Therefore, the remaining block should be 25, not 27. Hazel continues her journey and finds this weird sign engraved on a rock. Can you help her crack the meaning of this code? The arrow is pointing to the right. The message is mirrored. If the POT is on the right, it means that the TOP, or top, is on the left. Now Hazel knows the right direction. It's getting really cloudy. It'll rain soon. Hazel decides to hide in one of these 3 caves and have some lunch. Can you help her pick the safest place to stay? Take a look at the tracks. The first cave is probably home to a family of bears. Mother bears can get furious when it comes to their cub protection. As for the second cave, it's obvious that a human being has entered it and come back out, which is encouraging. And now, let's take a look at the third cave. A human entered it but never came out. Therefore, Hazel should choose the second cave. Finally, Hazel reaches the top of the mountain. Suddenly, a kind wizard pops out of nowhere and greets her. He suggests Hazel relocate to a hidden magic world. He says, "I'll show you the gates if you solve my riddle. So listen carefully. I'm very fragile, and even just saying my name could break me. What am I?" Any ideas what it might be? The correct answer is silence. The wizard shows Hazel the gates. There are 3 doors, but only one of them leads to the magic world. Can you help Hazel figure this out? Only the second path leads to the final destination. Bye-bye!
Welcome to Brightside U. You've got one more final before break, all riddles. Jot down your answers, and we'll see what your score means at the end of the video. The university president's looking nervous. He gets to his office and opens the door. It's the end of the semester, and all the students are about to take their finals, except Intro to Geography. The teacher had to postpone that final for some reason. When he sits at his desk, he discovers that someone's been rummaging through his papers. They've stolen the physics final. How did they get in if the door and windows were closed? I'll give you 7 seconds for this one. That ventilation panel above the president's desk, it's been moved. Someone crawled all the way through there. Impressive. But who did it? To answer that, you need to solve a bunch of other riddles first. Then maybe you'll figure out the mystery at the end of the video. The president leaves his office and walks down the hall. There's a loud crack, and the power goes out all over the building. Someone must have flipped all the fuses. He heads down to the break room to see what's up. I mean, he's the president after all. Yep, someone's been messing around down here. There's 3 suspects in the room. The cleaner says somebody turned off the generator when he came in to clean. Rachel's a new transfer student. She says she totally got lost and ended up in here by accident. Simon's a junior. He has his phone in his hand. Says he was playing one of those video games where you have to find stuff. Which one of them shut off the power? Your 7 seconds starts now. It was Rachel. It's the end of the semester. She wouldn't have transferred right before finals. But why did she do it? Maybe she wanted to disrupt the physics final. He turns the power back on. Hungry. Probably a good time to grab a quick snack. When he gets to the cafeteria, there's a new problem waiting for him. Someone emptied a whole bag of sugar into a huge pot of soup. Which student was it? You have 7 seconds. All the suspects have bowls of soup in front of them, but one of them doesn't have a spoon, just a fork. He was never going to eat the soup. He knew it would taste disgusting. Just as the president finishes up his sandwich, he gets a text. It's from a professor. He needs help in his office ASAP. In the office are 3 students, standing around and looking guilty. The professor claims one of them graffitied the painting on his wall. Which one did it? You've got 7 seconds to figure it out. It's that one. She's covering her hands. There's probably some paint on her fingers that she's trying to hide from you. Next stop, the infamous physics exam. The president heads over to the exam room. Everything's quiet in there. Looks okay. All the students have their heads down, staring at their papers. But someone's cheating. The president can sense it somehow. Help him find the sneaky student. 7 seconds to scan the room. It's the guy with his legs crossed. Clever. He wrote the answers on his calf muscle. But where did he even get those answers? After a brief shakedown, he spills the beans. He got them from a friend. That hassle's over. Time for a coffee and a snack. A big one. But just then, a piercing beep smashes through the silence. The fire alarm! Oh, come on. Students file out of their classrooms, and the entire university has to be evacuated. The students are standing outside, looking at the building. No fire, no smoke even. The president gets a text from the alarm company. The alarm was triggered by a person, not a smoke detector. The president looks around. Time to round up the usual 4 suspects. Matt says he was in the bathroom when the alarm came on. Julia was taking the geography final. Clark and Lex were studying strange green meteorites together in the science lab. Which one of them is lying? You have 7 seconds starting now. It was Julia. The geography teacher postponed the final, remember? Why would she lie unless she had something to hide? Today's not really his day. Someone cut down a tree right in the middle of the quad. The caretaker saw 4 students hanging out under the tree this morning, and now it's gone. Time to interview the suspects. Emily says she's been in the library all day. Loads of people saw her. Sam claims he was in the cafeteria having some soup. Lewis was in the physics final, and Michael says he's been hitting the weights all day, trying to get buff for the beach. Who cut down the tree? Your 7 seconds starts now. It was obviously Sam. He said he was having some soup, but remember, if he had really been in the cafeteria, he would have mentioned the whole sugar thing. Plus, the president was in there and didn't see him. He's lying. On to the biology final. They've got a new teacher who's giving a unique type of final. The president sneaks in the back of the room. The teacher explains that she gave her students ficus seeds at the beginning of the semester. Whoever has the most beautiful ficus plant will get the highest grade. It's time to present the results. The students start to file into the classroom. Half of them are holding pots with beautiful green ficus trees. The other half have pots filled with plain old earth. No leaves, no nothing. The teacher says the students with empty pots all get an A. Why did the teacher do that? Solve this mystery in 7 seconds. Go! At the beginning of the semester, she gave everyone fake ficus seeds. The students who showed up with full-blooming plants must have bought a full-grown plant and stuck it in the pot. Ha! Busted! Last final of the day, philosophy. The young teacher is in there, waiting for all the students to take their seats. After that, he puts a bust of an ancient Greek philosopher on the table. The teacher says, "Write a short essay on the following topic: why this bust doesn't exist." The student with the most convincing argument gets an A, while everyone else gets a C. Huh, tough teacher. After an hour, the students hand in their papers. Most of them filled up the front and back, but one student only wrote 2 words, and she got the A. What did she write? I'll give you 7 seconds to figure it out. She wrote, "What bust?" The president heads outside again, this time for the parking lot. What? Someone took the tire right off of his car. How's he gonna get home? He still has a spare tire in his trunk, but the thieves took the bolts too. All 4 of them. What can he do? You have 7 seconds to come up with a plan. He needs to unscrew 1 bolt from each of the other 3 tires and attach them to the spare. Each tire now has 3 bolts. That'll be enough to get to the nearest service station. What an intense day. The president's ready to kick back for a few, but he gets another urgent text. There's broken glass all over the quad. Someone broke a window up there. The only 3 people around are a cook, a gardener, and a student. The cook says he's been boiling up a new soup for the last hour, since someone put sugar in the last one. The gardener admits he was up in a tree cutting branches. He saw a student break the glass. The student says he was studying in the library. I'll give you 7 seconds to figure out who's lying. The gardener's lying. How could he have been up in the tree? It had already been stolen. He broke the glass, probably just by accident. The day's finally over. The president heads over for the best tradition on campus, the post-finals party. It's in the basketball arena. There are lights, decorations, and even a DJ. Everyone's dressed up, looking relieved. Finals are over. The party goes all night, but around 4 a.m., someone accidentally slams the doors too hard, and it triggers the automatic locks. Everyone's trapped. The president can be the hero of the party. He just needs to find a way out, grab the spare keys from his office, and open the door from the outside. But how? One of the students, Eric, says he knows how to get out of the gym through a vent. The president looks at him, and his face goes red with anger. Why? Last riddle, 7 seconds. You can do it. Eric just gave himself away. He's obviously been in the ventilation shafts before, so it was probably him who stole the physics final. How did you do? Count up your correct answers, and let's see how you fared on your final exam. 0 to 3 points. Looks like you'll need to sign up for some classes over break. Keep watching riddle videos. You'll get better in no time. 4 to 7 points. Solid B+, but I'm sure you can do better next time. 8 to 12 points. You nailed that final. Leave your books in your locker and enjoy your well-deserved vacation.
You return from a lunch break and discover that someone has stolen $30 from your bag. There are 4 suspects: Mila, Henry, Jackson, and Victoria. When you ask them about the money, Mila replies she hasn't taken it. Henry says he's pretty sure Jackson's got the money. Jackson shouts, "No way! Henry's lying!" And Victoria claims Mila's telling the truth. Only one of these people isn't lying. Who stole your money? It's Mila. She, Henry, and Victoria are lying, while Jackson's telling the truth. If anyone else had taken your $30, there would be more than one person telling the truth. How can you get from 98 to 720 just by using one letter? Add the letter X between 90 and 8. You'll get 90 times 8 equals 720. The owner of the restaurant, Vegan Paradise, called the police. He was in a panic. "Someone has attacked our chef! He was taken to a hospital several minutes ago. Our rivals must have sent someone to ruin my business." When the police officers came to the restaurant, they learned that 3 people had been in the staff area during the accident. The first cook was cutting onions when the chef was hurt. He told the police his vision had been blurred because of the tears and he hadn't seen anything. The second cook was peeling shrimp when the accident happened. He said he'd been listening to music through his earphones and he hadn't heard anything. The third person, a waitress, claimed she had been serving lemonade outside. Who's lying? The second cook attacked the chef. Shrimps in a vegan restaurant? Really? And how fast will you find the answer to this riddle? It equals 4. Cat equals 6. Time equals 8. Hippo equals 10. Cheetah equals... The answer is 14. Each letter equals 2. Brenda was traveling by train. It was scorching hot in the carriage. The girl took off her gold bracelet decorated with diamonds and put it on the table in front of her. Several minutes later, the train entered a tunnel and it got pitch dark. When the tunnel was left behind, there was no bracelet on the table.
No.
Brenda was shocked. "Someone's taken my bracelet!" There were just 3 other people in the compartment. Helen said she'd been sleeping. Rachel was reading a book on her phone, and Gregory had gone to the bathroom even before the train entered the tunnel. Who took the bracelet? It was Helen. Before she had her sleeves rolled up, but now they cover her arms down to the wrists, hiding the bracelet. What usually happens with plants in math classrooms? They grow square roots. A man walked into a room and saw 3 doors. The first one had a sign which read, "To the swamps." On the second door, there was a note, "Lion's Den." The third door didn't have any sign, but the man knew for sure where it led. How? It was the door he had entered through. A baby giraffe doubled in height every month till it reached its dad's size. It took 10 months. How many months did it take the baby giraffe to grow half its current height? Nine months. Now, have a look at these 2 guys. What do you think? Who will not survive? Most likely the guy on the left. His slingshot sure can cause some harm to the guy on the right, but he'll definitely survive. But should he step off the wooden board, the other guy will immediately fall into an abyss. A rich man, Mr. Thomas Green, disappeared right from his home. The detective assigned to this case found a note at the crime scene. It read, 1st of January, 4th of October, 5th of March, 3rd of June. The detective guessed that the criminal's name was hidden in the note. The suspects were Jack Green, the rich man's son and heir, June Green, the man's wife, and John Jacobson, Mr. Green's employee. The detective deduced the name of the culprit in no time. Can you do the same? These dates supposedly stand for the letters you need in the words. For example, means the first letter of the word January, J, and so on. It turns out John Jacobson has something to do with Mr. Green's disappearance. Try to crack this one. Pote, O-O-O-O-O-O-O-O. That's pote 8 O's, which is potatoes. 1 end, 3 end, 5 end, 7 end. This rebus hides odds and ends. Knee-friended. What can it mean? It's a friend in need. A student put his final exam paper into the pile of other students' papers. The professor told him, "I saw you were cheating on the exam. You'll get an automatic fail." Strangely, the student just walked away. When the exam scores were announced, he found out he had an A. How come? The professor didn't know who the student was. That's why he graded his paper just like anyone else's. Both Harry and Terry's girlfriends went away on a business trip for the weekend. During the whole time, the couples were texting and sending each other pictures. On Sunday morning, the girls asked their boyfriends to send them their selfies. Harry sent a selfie where he was smiling in the kitchen. Terry sent a selfie of himself in the bathroom. One of the girlfriends knew immediately that her boyfriend was cheating. Who was it, and how did the girlfriend know? It was Harry. Look at that lipstick mark on the glass on top of the kitchen counter. Becca and Tom are a couple. One of them rented a scooter from Brown Scooters and now needs to pay for the ride. A worker from the scooter company comes to charge the couple $15 that they owe. Becca and Tom start arguing over who should pay for the scooter. Becca says that Tom was the one who wrote it, so he should pay for it. But Tom says that it was Becca who wrote it, and she should pay for it. Who is lying? Becca is lying. Take a look at Becca's footprints. They lead directly to the scooter. There were 3 thefts at a local supermarket. One in February, one in May, and one in July. Thankfully, the security camera recorded the footage of those 3 days. The store manager called Detective Moore, asking to solve the crime. The detective took a close look at the footage and noticed one detail that helped him solve the mystery. Take a look at the images and try to figure out who the thief is. In all 3 videos, there is a pregnant lady. In the video from February, she looks about 7 months pregnant. But in the other videos, from May and July, her belly looks exactly the same. This means that she is the thief. She must have been faking her pregnancy all along. Dr. O'Brien invented the time machine and traveled all the way back to prehistoric times. Take a look at this picture and see if you can spot Dr. O'Brien amongst other prehistoric people carrying out their activities. That's easy. It's the guy with the flashlight. He must have taken one with him when he set off on his journey. Katie was running late for class. When she finally arrived at the classroom, she accidentally dropped the pile of textbooks she was holding. It produced a loud thump, making the entire classroom stare at her. At that moment, Katie drew the attention of 20 eyes. How many people were in the classroom that day? There were 11 people. 10 people have a pair of eyes each, right? Add Katie to the equation. That makes a total of 11 people in the room. Police officer Dave received a call late at night. A famous chemist went missing from his lab. After searching the lab thoroughly, Dave found a note with ransom numbers scribbled on it. The note read 26 3 58, 28 27 57 16. Based on the note, Dave managed to find the scientist and arrest the criminals who had taken him. What was written in the encrypted note, and how did Dave understand it? The chemist is smart. Each number in the note corresponds to an element in the periodic table. So the element that corresponds to 26 is Fe, iron. Number 3 is Li, lithium. And 58 is Ce, cerium. If you use this logic, you can figure out that the first line spells Felice, and the numbers in the second line stand for Nicholas. After figuring out the names, Dave tracked the men down and arrested them. Helena finally got herself a new guitar. She wanted to play it right away, but she had to go to school. She locked the instrument inside her room and left. When she got home in the evening, the guitar was gone. She knew it must have been one of her family members, as they always played pranks on one another. So she questioned each one of them. Helena's mother said she hadn't even seen the guitar the girl had bought. Her dad said that he had seen it when he passed by Helena's room, but he swore he hadn't done anything to it. Helena's brother said he hadn't gone upstairs the whole day, so he hadn't seen the guitar either. Helena solved the mystery instantly. Can you figure it out? Her dad was lying. He said he'd seen the guitar when passing by the girl's room, but that's impossible. Helena locked the door when she left. A bank was robbed by masked strangers. One of the robbers asked the teller to give them all the money hidden in the bank safe. But Suddenly, the teller's phone rang. It was his mother. The robber told the guy to pick up the phone to avoid arousing suspicion. On the phone, the teller asked, "Is there an emergency, Mother? Call me when you get home and I'll help you with the dinner." Then he hung up. 5 minutes later, while the robbers were still in the bank, the police arrived at the crime scene. How did the police know about the robbery? The teller was smart. While he was speaking on the phone with his mother, he pressed the mute button while he was saying some of the words. So what his mother heard on the other end of the line was, "Emergency, Mother, call help." On the outskirts of a town, there was a haunted house. A group of friends decided to check it out. They went there at night, but as soon as they got there, one of the friends refused to go inside and tried to stop the others. But they just laughed and left him behind. There were terrible crashing sounds coming from the house, and then everything went still. John never saw his friends again. How did John understand that there was something seriously wrong with the house? John was very attentive. He noticed that there was lots of footprints leading towards the house, but none going away. A famous hotel has 7 floors. 5 people are staying on the first floor. 8 people are staying on the second floor. 11 people are staying on the third floor, and so on. Each next floor has 3 more people living there than the previous one. Which floor calls the elevator most often? The first floor. Any person staying on a floor other than the first has to call the elevator to reach their destination. In a small town, 3 teachers asked for sick leave on the same day. Janet said she had got into a car accident and broke her leg. Now she was having difficulty walking with the cast and all. Emma complained she'd had a very unfortunate workout and injured her neck. She couldn't even turn her head. And Tina said that she'd fallen from her bike and hurt her arm. One of the teachers is lying. Can you tell who? It's Janet. She claims she's having difficulty walking with the cast, but she doesn't even have crutches. You wake up and find yourself trapped in a room with 4 doors in front of you. You hear a monster coming, so you check the door quickly. The leftmost door has a sign on it saying, "Take the door on the right to break free." The second door also has a sign saying, "It's the right door." The third door has a sign, "Freedom is just right in front of you." And the last door has a sign saying, "Don't trust the signs." Which door should you choose? Well, there's a little bit of wordplay here. Let's see why. The first door says to take the door on the right. The second one says it's the right door. Not the correct door, but the door on the right. The third door says, "Freedom is just right in front of you." That just doesn't make any sense, does it? You can interpret this statement as pointing at the door just on your right. Well, that's it. It's the last door. It does tell you not to trust the other signs, but it doesn't tell you that they're false, does it? Hey Sherlocks, I really need your help here. So, take out your magnifying glasses and join me on this detective chase.
Yeah.
Look at this image. What's wrong here? These guys seem to be playing tennis, but they're using a tiny football. Now how about these people? One of them is from the future. Can you figure out who it is? Be very attentive. Right, it's this guy. he's got a smartphone in his pocket. This looks like a regular picnic in the park, but one of these people is a time traveler. Who is it? It's the guy with a USB port in his arm. A sailor has a piece of fabric that is 16 feet long. He cuts 2 feet of this fabric per day. How many days will he need to cut the whole cloth? Your first answer might have been 8 days, but in fact, the sailor will only need 7 days. The last remaining piece of fabric will be 2 feet long, and the sailor won't need to cut it. Adam's car has broken down right in the middle of a deserted forest road. But the worst thing? It's winter. Snowdrifts are huge, and the wind is freezing cold. Adam has to get to the nearest town, and fast. But if he follows the first path, he'll have to deal with hungry wolves. The second one goes through an area inhabited by bears. And if he takes the third road, he'll have to cross a river covered with thin ice. Which is the safest way? Adam should sneak through the bear's territory. These animals sleep in winter. Look at this picture. Which cage, in your opinion, is the safest? It's the last one. Even though a scorpion sting is painful, it's rarely life-threatening. The next tricky brain teaser for you. Can you figure out who has stolen her computer? It's definitely the girl on the right. Look at the strange shape her hoodie has taken. One of these girls is a wanted criminal. But which one? It's the one with dark hair. She has the same mole as the girl in the photo. Now there is something terribly wrong in this image. Can you figure out what it is? Look at that snowdrift near the cactus on the right. It's a desert. What is a snowdrift doing there? Look at these people and try to figure out who will divorce soon. Most likely, it will be the couple on the right. Have you noticed that the woman has secretly given a note with her phone number to the bartender? After a natural disaster, there was a blackout in Sam's town. Some criminals used darkness to kidnap the guy for ransom. The building where he was kept had 3 doors. Sam could use one of them to escape. But the first door hid a trap that would crush anyone as soon as they entered. Behind the second door, there were chainsaws that could cut anything into pieces in no time. The flesh-eating acid was bubbling behind the third door. Which door should Sam choose? Chainsaws can't harm the guy because there's no electricity in the town, remember? Liza was a millionaire's daughter. She was fed up with her father trying to control her life, so she decided to run away from home. She took some money and the most discreet car she could find in the garage and left. The girl knew her father would send his people to bring her back. That's why she never stayed in one hotel for more than one night. One day, she found herself in a small town. It was getting dark, and she had no choice but to stop at the first hotel she saw. The receptionist said her room number was 710 and offered to show her where it was. Liza immediately grabbed her bag, ran out of the hotel, jumped in the car, and sped away. Why? The first digit of a hotel room number usually means the floor it's on. Room 710 is supposed to be on the 7th floor. But the hotel has only 2 floors. This must be a trap. A tourist who didn't speak English came up to the ticket counter at a New York subway station. One ticket cost 50 cents, and the man handed the ticketing clerk $1. The woman gave the tourist 2 tickets without even asking how many he needed. How did she know? The tourist gave her 4 quarters, and she immediately realized that if he needed just 1 ticket, he would have just given her 2 quarters. Ice melts when you heat it, but if you heat me, I'll become solid. Can you figure out what I am? I'm an egg. I'm weightless, but you can see me. And if you put me in a water bottle, it will become much lighter. What am I? Right you are. I'm a hole. After having had a fight with a powerful wizard, Louisa found herself trapped in a medieval castle, far away from civilization. She couldn't escape. Jumping out of the window was out of the question because it was too high above the ground. And the only tree growing next to that window wasn't sturdy enough for the girl to use it to climb down. At the same time, in the room where Louisa was locked, there were 3 doors. One of them could lead the girl to freedom, but behind the first door, a fire was raging. The second door held back hundreds of venomous snakes. And behind the third door, there was a maze filled with animal traps. Which door should Louisa choose to escape? Louisa should break off a tree branch, turn it into a torch by lighting it in the first room, and then going through the maze. It won't be dark anymore, and the girl will easily avoid the traps. Now, your task is to crack a few rebus puzzles. Be very attentive and try to think outside the box. What does this mean? Right, that's Big Sister. How about this rebus puzzle? The correct answer is right between the eyes. Look at this one. That's good afternoon. What can you fill if your hands are empty? Well, this is confusing. How can I fill anything if there's nothing in my hands? You'll probably be able to figure it out. And the correct answer is gloves, or mittens if that's what you prefer. Mr. Wilson's company had some financial problems. One day, the man called the police. He said someone had broken into his office. "They stole my safe with all the money I had." The police officers who came to investigate this case asked the man why he was so sure that there had been several thieves. "Well, my safe was too heavy for one person to carry." The police instantly realized Mr. Wilson was lying. How? If the safe had been indeed so heavy, it would have left some dents on the carpet, but the floor covering is perfectly smooth. Detective Martin was choosing a diamond ring for his fiancée when a man in a black mask ran into the jewelry store. He made all the visitors lie on the floor and took the most expensive jewelry and money. After that, Detective Martin saw the man get on a red motorbike and speed away. The detective jumped into his car and set off on a chase. Soon, he came to a crossroads. Where should he go now? Suddenly, Martin saw a car coming from the opposite direction. He asked the driver if he'd seen the red bike. "No, I've only seen a silver convertible." Then, the detective saw a gray car approach from the left. The woman inside said she hadn't seen the red bike, but she had seen a yellow bike and a group of cyclists. And the man who appeared from the right told Detective Martin he'd only noticed a large blue truck. Where is the robber?
Yeah.
The motorbike can only be inside the blue truck.
Rose, Lily, and Jasmine enter a flower shop on Mother's Day to buy some flowers for their moms. One of them buys lilies, the second one, roses, and the third one, jasmines. "It's funny," said the lady with roses. "We bought roses, jasmines, and lilies, but none of us bought the flowers matching her name." Lily replies, "Whoa, you're right." Can you guess which kind of flowers each of the girls bought? We know that the lady who bought the roses isn't Rose, and she's not Lily either, because Lily replied to her words. So Jasmine bought roses, Rose bought lilies, and Lily bought jasmines. Bob also bought some flowers for his wife. All of the flowers he has are orchids, except two. All of the flowers he has are hibiscuses, except two. And all of the flowers he has are roses, except two. Can you guess how many flowers Bob has? Bob purchased only 2 flowers, neither of which are orchids, hibiscuses, or roses. At the end of his shift, the barista checks a tip jar. There are 5 coins inside the jar. 5 people take these 5 coins home. However, 1 coin is still left in the jar. How can this be possible? Simple. The last person took the jar along with the coin. Therefore, 1 coin still remains in the jar. 3 best friends participate in a bicycle race, but one of them is cheating. Can you guess who? The person in the middle. She rides an electric bike. 4 people wake up on a deserted island. In a while, they get really hungry and go for a walk to find some food. Amy finds a bush with berries. Peter finds a closed can of beans. Fred finds this beautiful apple tree. And Nina discovers a hive full of honey. Only one of these options is safe. Can you decide which one? A creepy cobra is hiding in the bush. The beans expired 10 years ago. It's not safe to take honey from the hive without a protective suit, so apples are the safest option. It has 13 hearts, yet it's never alive. What is it? A pack of cards. I have 3 eyes and all are in a straight line. When my red eye opens, everything freezes. What am I? I'm a stoplight. I'm made of wood, but you can't saw me down. What am I? I'm sawdust. Wendy is trapped in a creepy castle. It has only 2 possible exits. The first door leads to a room constructed from magnifying glass. The blazing hot sun instantly fries anyone who enters. And there's a fire-breathing dragon waiting behind the second door. Can you help Wendy escape? She should wait until nighttime and go through the first door. Can you write the number 45 only using the number 4? Here's the correct way. Tim lives in an apartment building. He comes home in the evening and finds out that his car is wrecked. He also sees 3 neighbors standing nearby. Tim wants to find out who's guilty, so he questions them. Henry replies, "I was just skating around the block. I didn't touch your car." Will says, "I was playing basketball with my friends." And Shelley replies, "I've spent all day working in the coffee shop on the first floor of our building." Can you spot the liar? Shelley. She said that she'd been visiting the coffee shop, but it's closed for good. Bella wants to rob an old lady's house. She approaches the door and sees that the door is opened. Bella freaks out and runs away. Can you see what's wrong here? There's no hole for a key. There's a 5-letter word that has 3 consonants, and they are all the same. Also, the word has 2 different vowels. There's something wrong associated with this word. Can you guess it? Error. Sam is a restaurant owner. He enters the space, and the waiter whispers to him, "Sir, there's a famous millionaire eating lunch at one of the tables." Sam looks around and sees these 4 persons. Can you guess who's rich? The first guy is wearing a fake Nike hoodie. This elegant woman has a fake Gucci bag. The third person is wearing torn shoes. And this lady is holding the keys from the brand new Ferrari parked behind the window. So, she's definitely not poor. Take a look at these 9 letters. Can you form a 9-letter word using these letters? Don't forget to use each letter. The word is mythology. What has lots of eyes but can't see? The correct answer is a potato. I'm the part of the bird that's not in the sky. I can swim in the ocean and yet remain dry. What am I? I'm a shadow. An electric train is traveling southwest at 95 miles per hour, and the wind is blowing northeast at 95 miles per hour. Can you guess which direction the smoke blows? There's no smoke with an electric train. What 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? The correct answer is short. The more of me here, the less you see. What am I? I'm darkness. What building has the most stories? Library, of course. Bob gets lost in the gym. He's wandering around and finds 3 doors leading outside. There are dangerous lions behind the first door. There's a giant pterodactyl breathing fire behind the second door. And behind the third door, there's a tank with hungry sharks. Nobody can cross this tank and stay alive. Which door should Bob choose to survive? To crack this riddle, Bob should remember that pterodactyls don't breathe fire. That's what dragons do. Also, pterodactyls went extinct many millions of years ago, so Bob should choose the second door. I'm tall when I'm young, and I'm short when I'm old. What am I? I'm a candle. There's a 1-story house in which everything is pink. Pink walls, pink doors, pink furniture. Can you guess the color of the stairs? It's a one-story house. There are no stairs. I'm taken from a mine and shut up in a wooden case, from which I'm never released. And yet I'm used by almost everybody. What am I? I'm a pencil lead. Miss Smith is a billionaire. She has 3 people living in her house with her. Adam, her reckless son, Peter, her noisy brother, and Sebastian, the loyal housekeeper. One day, Miss Smith finds this message written on her calendar. Can you help her spot the betrayer?
Ooh.
The circled numbers mean the months. It's her son, Adam. I can be long or I can be short. I can be grown and I can be bought. I can be painted or left bare. I can be round or a square. What am I? I'm your fingernails. Danny is a famous vampire hunter. He gets an invitation to a small town. There's a vampire living in this town, but nobody can catch this dangerous creature. Danny decides to look in the local restaurant. He asks the staff to show him security camera archives to check among the restaurant visitors over the years, and soon identifies the vampire. Who's the vampire? There he is. Vampires don't age, and also don't eat food. Danny takes a walk around the town and spots another creepy detail. Can you see it too? There's a zombie hiding over there. What about this location? Can you spot any zombies here? Hello, great job. Can you count the number of triangles in the given picture? What about this picture? How many triangles can you see? You can pause this video if you need extra time. There are 104 triangles in this picture.
Kevin and Jill moved in together several months ago. Can you guess how many months ago did they start living together by looking at this picture? There's a cleaning schedule hanging on the fridge. It has colored stickers with their names. They've been keeping this schedule for 5 months already. Therefore, they moved in together 5 months ago. New Year was coming, and Kevin invited Jill to spend the holidays in his parents' house. When they arrived, Kevin introduced Jill to his father and 2 brothers. Suddenly, Kevin's mother entered the house with her 2 best friends. They just came back home from the mall. Can you help Jill decide which of these 3 women is Kevin's mother? The third woman. The mole on her face is identical to Kevin's. Also, she's the only natural blonde among these women. Although the other 2 ladies also have blonde hair, their roots are dark. Kevin gave Jill a tour around the house. He offered her to play a game and guess on the second floor. She was supposed to guess which of the 3 bedrooms was Kevin's room where he lived with his parents. Have you guessed? The second room. Kevin's name was written on the wall. Although the graffiti was covered with paint, it could still be seen through. Besides, the interior of Kevin's current apartment also has some graffiti elements because he still pursues his hobby. Before the dinner, Kevin's brothers decided to prank Kevin and Jill and serve some snacks. There are 3 bowls with snacks, but only one of them contains edible snacks. Can you help Kevin and Jill choose the right bowl? first bowl has spiders in it. The second bowl doesn't only contain chips, but also Lego parts. And there's a couple of dirty socks inside the third bowl. Therefore, the safest option is bowl number 2. They just need to be careful not to eat Lego parts. During the dinner, Kevin's mother has been asking Jill embarrassing questions. Jill told her 4 facts about herself. She graduated from college with honors. She doesn't have any tattoos. Jill and Kevin met each other online. Her favorite color is blue. But only 3 facts are true. Which one is false? Jill does have a tattoo. Take a look at her ankle. Next morning, the entire family gathered in the living room to have breakfast and unpack Christmas gifts. Can you guess what gift is from Kevin's mother to Jill? This blue box. It's the only gift wrapped in a different color than others. Kevin's mother probably learned that Jill would come over after having wrapped all the gifts for her family. Besides, Jill mentioned that she loved blue color. Kevin and Jill went hiking nearby Kevin's hometown. It started to snow, and they decided to spend a romantic night in the woods. They rented a lovely cabin. Next morning, Jill got out of the bed and saw that their backpacks had disappeared. Hey! Take a look at this picture. Can you guess who stole their stuff? Kevin's brothers decided to prank them. There are traces of 2 people on the snow, and one of the brothers dropped one of his purple gloves. Kevin's brothers jumped out of a barn where they hid. They decided to go for a walk and found a secret base in the mountains. It was well guarded, but Kevin's brother Mike found an open door. The door slammed shut just as Mike got inside. He saw 3 pots in front of him. There was a fire in the first one. The second one was full of acid, and there was a working electric saw in the third pot. Suddenly, a mysterious voice said, "You can get a key from one of the pots to break free, but you can't move the pots." How did Mike escape? He pulled icicles from the ceiling and threw them into the first pot. The icicles melted and put the fire out. The guys continued their journey. Soon after, they decided to stop and have a quick snack. Kevin's second brother, Andy, spotted a cave. As soon as he entered the cave, the way out disappeared. Now he must choose between 3 doors. There are poisonous scorpions behind the first door. There's a sleeping potion behind the second door, and he would have to drink. Finally, there's a hungry tiger behind the third door. What should Andy do to escape? He should grab the sleeping potion, pour it over his sandwich, and throw the food at the hungry tiger. When the tiger falls asleep, he'll be able to escape through the third door. Jill, Kevin, Andy, and Mike headed home when they noticed cougars moving toward them. The guys started running away and saw a tunnel. It was very dark and scary. They only have 12 minutes to cross it. It takes Mike 1 minute to cross the tunnel, Andy 2 minutes, Jill 4 minutes, and Kevin 5 minutes. The guys decided to split into 2 pairs, but they only have 1 flashlight, and there's no way they go in there in 4. How can they escape? Andy and Mike should walk through the tunnel with the flashlight in 2 minutes. Then Mike returns. They still have 9 minutes. Kevin and Jill run through the tunnel with the flashlight and give it to Andy. It will take another 5 minutes. Then Andy should run to Mike, and they will escape together with the remaining 2 minutes. Kevin and Jill returned home, but the adventure continued. Someone robbed their apartment yesterday. They called the police and questioned the neighbors. Dan said that he had spent all holidays at work and didn't come home at all. Vicky was wearing headphones because she was making music, so she couldn't hear any suspicious sounds. And Emily spent the holidays at her sister's place because construction workers had to finish renovations in her apartment. Who is lying? Emily. If they finished renovations, why is her apartment a giant mess? 2 years later, Kevin and Jill decided to get married. On the wedding day, Kevin noticed that Jill had forgotten her wedding necklace in his bag. He went to her dressing room to get the jewelry, but when he got there, he saw 3 identical Jills wearing identical dresses. Jill's father is a scientist. He decided to test Kevin's feelings before the wedding and made 2 clones of his daughter. Help Kevin find his real bride. It's the third one. She has a tattoo on her ankle, remember? And her clones don't, because tattoos don't impact genetics. Jill went downstairs to say hi to her bridesmaids, but when she saw them, Jill began to yell at her dad because he pranked her with his mad scientific tricks once again. One of the bridesmaids was a cyborg. Can you guess who it was? This elegant lady over here. What is she doing with her head? Kevin's mother was responsible for the wedding banquet, but when she entered the kitchen and saw the food served by the catering company, she got very upset. She called the company's office and started to yell at the manager, telling them to fix the disaster immediately. Can you guess what made her so upset? Look at the top of the cake. There are 2 green goblins instead of the bride and the groom. Kevin and Jill went to the Caribbean for their honeymoon. The hotel looked rather creepy, but they decided to stay there anyway. The hotel employee asked the newlyweds to choose a room from the remaining options. Can you help Kevin and Jill pick a good room? There were weird stains on linen in the first room. There's a spider web on the chandelier in the second room, and the third one looks pretty good. Jill decided to chill in the swimming pool. On her way to the dressing room, she noticed a TV in the hall and heard some breaking news. Someone spotted a zombie in town. The creature probably went downtown, and it could be anywhere. Zombies are not very good at swimming and move very slowly. Jill entered the dressing room and met 3 people. Can you tell who the zombie is? There's a bandage on this woman's leg. No one would go to a swimming pool if they had cuts or stretches unless they're a zombie. In the hotel room, Kevin found a secret door leading to a tunnel. He walked through the tunnel and found storage full of diamonds. Suddenly, prison bars appeared around Kevin out of nowhere, and a mysterious voice said, "You can take all the diamonds and leave safely if you manage to choose the right potion to escape." There were 3 options. The first potion will make Kevin invisible. The second potion will turn him into a bird. And the third potion will make him super tall. In 5 minutes, Kevin returned to Jill with a huge bag of diamonds. Which potion did he choose? The second one. He turned into a small bird that flew through the bars. The next morning, Jill woke up stuck on a small, flat, deserted island. It raised up 40 feet, and all around the base are jagged rocks and shark-infested waters. The island was covered in a dry, flammable vegetation. Suddenly, lightning struck the easternmost point of the island, and a huge fire started. The wind made the fire burn in a perfectly straight line across the island, with no gaps in the fire line. The fire was burning quite intensely, and she couldn't vault it or put it out. Jill cannot jump or traverse the rocks, and the wind won't change direction. How can she survive? Jill can start a fire herself, which will burn behind her. By the time the main fire gets there, she will be surrounded by an already burned area, and the main fire will not harm her. Also, since there was lightning, it probably rained soon after. The rain could put out the fire, and Jill would survive. Wow, what a crazy honeymoon. I think I'd just stay home.
Sarah accidentally pulled a lever in a science lab and set free a group of mutant zombies. The 4 humans left in the lab needed to escape before the zombies caught up. To do so, they needed to cross an old rope bridge hanging over a massive gorge. According to the professor's calculations, the zombies would catch up with the lab team in 17 minutes. They needed to get everyone across the bridge before that. Sarah was the fastest one in the group. She could cross the bridge in 1 minute. The lab assistant, Dawn, could cross it in 2 minutes. But the janitor and the professor were way slower. The first needed 5 minutes, and the second needed 10 minutes to get to the other side. They also only had 1 lantern left. How could they arrive at the other side safely if the bridge could only hold 2 people at a time, and each group needed to carry the lantern to illuminate the way? Here's how it works. Sarah and Dawn cross the bridge first, carrying the lantern. It takes them 2 minutes. Sarah, the quickest, runs back with the lantern. Then, the professor and the janitor cross the bridge together. It takes them 10 minutes. In total, it takes 13 minutes. Dawn grabs the lantern from them and dashes across the bridge to help Sarah get across. With 2 minutes left on the clock, Sarah and Dawn get safely to the other side, just in time to cut the rope and save their lives. Helena finally got herself a new guitar. She wanted to start playing it right away, but she had to go to school. She locked the instrument in her room and left. When she got home that evening, the guitar was gone. She knew it must have been one of her family members, as they were always playing pranks on each other. So she questioned each of them. Helena's mother said she hadn't even seen the guitar the girl had bought. Her dad said he'd seen it when he'd passed by Helena's room, but swore he hadn't done anything to it. Her brother said he hadn't gone upstairs the whole day, so he hadn't seen the guitar either. Helena solved the mystery right away. Can you figure it out? Her dad is lying. He said he'd seen the guitar when passing by her room, but that would be impossible. Helena locked the door on the way out. John, Carl, and Ben are sitting on a park bench. One of them arranged to meet his 2 sisters. He promised them he would take them on a stroll in the park. Can you tell which guy it is? It's Ben. Look at his wrist. He's wearing 2 bracelets, probably made by his younger sisters. Josh was walking in a forest at night and came across an old castle. He was curious, so he found a way to sneak in and started walking down a corridor. Pretty soon, he met 3 cloaked figures. When Josh asked them who they were, they said they were 2 werewolves and 1 vampire. The trio told Josh that he had made a bad choice coming inside the castle. They said they wouldn't leave him unless Josh outsmarted them. Josh had to guess who the vampire was. According to the rules, he was only allowed to ask each of them the same question, and the question couldn't be, "Are you a vampire?" After a few minutes of thinking, Josh asked, "What's your eye color?" He guessed who the vampire was and was allowed to leave the castle. Why did he ask that? And how did that question help him? Vampires don't reflect in mirrors, and they don't show up in photos. The vampire probably wouldn't know their eye color. One afternoon, 4 friends met up for coffee. Someone asked them how old they were, and they answered with a riddle. They said Mia was 3 times older than Anna, But 3 years ago, Anna was younger than Claudia is now, and Olivia is twice as old as Anna. So, can you put the girls in order according to their age? The correct order is Mia, Olivia, Anna, and Claudia. Mary's birthday was coming up, and she decided to treat herself to a relaxing day at the spa. During the massage, Mary dozed off. When she woke up, the money was missing from her purse. There were 3 suspects. The cashier, Erica, claimed that she'd been having lunch at the back. Catherine, the masseuse, said, "I went to the back of the store to get some extra oil." Monica, a customer, said she hadn't seen anything and had just been waiting for her turn. What do you say, Sherlock? Who did it? The culprit is Catherine, the masseuse. She must have waited for Mary to fall asleep and then took her things. Look at the stash of money hidden behind the oils. Susanna was walking down the street when she saw a small dog. It looked as if the dog had just run away, so she picked it up and started searching for its owner. She walked into an office building. There were 3 people there. Susanna knew immediately who the dog's owner was. How did she figure it out? Look at the guy in the middle. He's sitting on a dog's leash. You've just come back from a long trip. You had to get a new suitcase to store all the things you bought. But after arriving home, you realize you've forgotten the code you need to open the suitcase. Luckily, you left yourself a note on your cell phone that can help you decipher the code on the lock. 682. 1 digit is correct and in the right place. 614. 1 digit is correct, but in the wrong place. 206. 2 digits are correct, but in the wrong place. 768. All digits are wrong. 380. 1 digit is right, but in the wrong place. What's the 3-digit code? (042). One morning, Detective Smith arrived at the jail where 3 men had escaped from their cells. The prisoners could neither see nor talk to each other. But they managed to organize their escape together. They visited the same shower room, but only one person was allowed to come in at a time. How did they manage to communicate? They wrote messages to one another on the bathroom mirror, used the steam to read them, and planned their escape together. On a Sunday morning, 7 friends went to the mall. Esme, Evelyn, and Elise grabbed a cup of coffee each, while Ava, Ella, and Emma decided to drink some refreshing soda. Can you figure out if Esther chose to drink coffee or soda? Esther is drinking coffee. The secret to figuring out the answer is in the girls' names. Esme, Evelyn, Elise, and Esther all have 2-letter E's in their names. In the afternoon, 3 people visited Tessa's clothing store. These 3 people were the only customers she had that day. The first person bought a belt and a purse. The second person bought a dress. And the third customer got a hat. One of them was a criminal, and Tessa reported them to the police immediately. Who was the criminal, and how did Tessa know? The third person gave her a $1,000 bill, but such bills don't exist. At 11 a.m., Amy got a call from her boss, Tom. He was in distress because a very important document had disappeared from his office. It had been on the desk the evening before, but nowhere to be found in the morning. Amy immediately went there to question the employees. She soon had 3 suspects. Elijah said he had spent the previous evening in the movies. Mason took his girlfriend to dinner. And Evelyn visited an art gallery. It didn't take Amy long to understand who was lying. Can you figure it out? It was Elijah. Take a close look at his ticket. It isn't torn, which means he didn't really go to the movies.
Anna and Barbara are cleaners at a fancy hotel. The hotel manager received a call saying that one of them had stolen precious jewelry from one of the clients. Now look at the image. Can you figure out who did it? It was Anna. If you look closely, there's a shiny diamond inside that cleaning bucket. Uh-oh. Inside a high-security prison, 3 men were eager to escape. The first one was trying to break the cell bars. The second one was working out every day to get strong. The last one was quietly reading a book. One of these prisoners came from the future. Can you tell who? It's the one reading the book. He knows none of the other prisoners are going to make it. By reading books, he might get an answer on how to escape. And even if that doesn't happen, at least reading will help him stay on track until he gets out of there. Ben and Paula were watching a riddle channel at home. They got into a heated discussion about who would survive such a dangerous prank. Take a look at the image. Who do you think has the biggest chance at survival? It's the lady with the snakes. I know that sounds dangerous, but the snakes are small and not poisonous. Dan enrolled in a photography class. For his latest assignment, he needed to take a landscape picture and present it to the class. But Dan didn't have time to do the assignment, so he decided to Photoshop an image and show it in class. The teachers and students immediately saw that the picture wasn't real. How could they tell? Well, because the image has 2 suns. That's not natural. At least not on planet Earth. Maybe Tatooine. Otto decided to take a chance on online dating. After a few days, he started talking to Mandy. They got along pretty well and decided to meet in person. They agreed to meet in Mandy's favorite cafe. She told Otto that she would be using a couple of red hair clips and it should be easy for him to find her. But as soon as Otto arrived there, 3 women were using red hair clips. They were in fashion apparently. So take a look at the image. Can you help Otto find Mandy? Let's see. Mandy is the woman at the first table. She's the only one wearing a pair of hair clips. The woman on the left is using 3 clips, and the other is wearing just 1. Betty walked into a cafe and ordered a cappuccino. But the cashier told her it was her lucky day. He would give Betty her cappuccino for free if she managed to answer a riddle correctly. The cashier said there were 2 buckets filled with water all the way to the top. The buckets had equal height, but the temperature of the water inside the first bucket was 25 degrees Celsius, while the second bucket it was 25 degrees Fahrenheit. If a person dropped the coin inside both buckets at the same time, which coin would hit the bottom of the bucket first?
Uh-oh.
Jenny took a few minutes to answer the riddle, but she got it right. Can you guess what she answered? She said it would hit the bottom of the first bucket first. It had to do with the state of the water in each bucket. At 25 degrees Celsius, the water is liquid, while at 25 degrees Fahrenheit, it turns to ice. Amy lives in a cozy townhouse with 3 roommates, Jill, Alice, and Nora. Take a look at these 4 bedrooms. Can you tell which one belongs to Amy? Let's go one by one, eh, Sherlock? In the first room, there's a comb with some green hair stuck to it. Nora's the one with the green hair, so that must be her room. Then, in the room to the right, there's a single red sock under the bed. Take a look at Jill's feet. She's missing that same sock. That must be her room. In the room right under this, there's a yellow jacket hanging on the chair, and Alice is wearing the same colored pants. It looks like the 2 pieces are a suit, right? That leaves the last room, with this huge letter A poster hanging on the wall. That must be Amy's room. Whew, that took some work. Annie was locked inside a room with 4 doors. On each door, there was a symbol of a creature hidden behind it. On the first door, there was a small dragon. On the second, there was a couple of vampires. On the third door, there was a mummy. And on the last door, there was a werewolf. One of the doors would open in 1 minute, but Annie didn't know which one. She had 3 different items she could use to protect herself: an axe, a torch, or an aspen stake. She needed to choose one that would help her fight any of the monsters. Which one should she choose? Her best option would be to choose the torch. The torch's fire can scare off any of the creatures and protect Annie. Olivia was running a marathon. Right before the finish line, she did her best and outran the person who was running in second place. The woman was happy and excited that she was going to win, but in a few seconds, she was very disappointed. Why? Because Olivia finished in second place when she wanted to finish first. This is what happened. She was fast enough to outrun the person who was going to win second place, but she wasn't fast enough to outrun the person who finished first. But hey, it's a good result anyway. Cheryl ran into her house extremely worried. She told the police officer she took off as soon as she heard the news. She was at her parents' house in another town and wanted to know what had happened to her husband while she was away. The officer said that someone had hurt Mr. Brown and that he ended up in the hospital. He said Mr. Brown was going to be okay, but he still needed to find out who had done this to him. The police officer had questioned 3 suspects so far. Mr. Brown's secretary said that she was sent to visit Mr. Brown's business partner in the morning because important documents needed to be signed. The house cook said he hadn't left the kitchen the entire day, since Mr. Brown had asked him to prepare a meal for him and his wife. And the housekeeper said that she hadn't heard anything. She spent the day doing chores. The officer realized who the culprit was in no time. Can you figure out who did it too? It was the cook. Mr. Brown probably didn't ask him to cook anything for his wife since she was out of town all along. These are Julia and Maria. They are both very attractive young women who have no trouble finding boyfriends. Today is Valentine's Day, and they're both going out with their loved ones. One of them is currently dating 3 people, though, so she's probably going to run from date to date. Just by looking at this image, can you tell which one it is? It's Maria, the one on the left. If you look at her workstation, she's got 3 presents lined up, one for each person she's currently seeing, who, I'm just guessing here, probably don't know about the others. Police Officer Dave received a call late one night. A famous chemist went missing from his lab. After searching the lab thoroughly, Dave found a note with random numbers scribbled on it. The note read 26 3 58, 28 27 57 6. It took Dave a while to figure out the hidden message. The clue was on the periodic table. Can you figure it out? The chemist was smart. Each number on the note corresponds to an element in the periodic table. So the element that corresponds to the number 26 is Fe, or iron. The number 3 is Li, lithium. And 58 is Ce, cerium. Using this logic, the first line is spelled Felice. By the same logic, the second line is spelled out Nicholas. After discovering the names, Dave tracked the 2 men down and arrested them.
Okay, let's have a little break now. I'll be showing you an emoji, and your task is to find the one that doesn't belong to the group. Ready? Here's the first one. What do you say? I'd say that this one doesn't belong here. All the others are blue. Okay, here's another set for you. Will you manage to find the one that doesn't belong here? All of them except for this one are sports equipment. Any ideas here? Yes, they're all summer related, but this one doesn't really fit in. And the last set for you. Will you manage to find the odd one? These are all real everyday objects, but this one is magical, so it's the odd one out. Belle and Chloe are twins. One year, Belle had her birthday on Friday.
Oh, yes.
Chloe celebrated her birthday 2 days later on Sunday. The guests who came to both parties didn't believe that twins could have birthdays 2 days apart, but the girls showed their IDs and explained everything. So, how is it possible? The twins were born at night. Belle was born right before midnight on February 28th, and Chloe was born right after midnight on March 1st. This year was a leap year, and February 29th came in between these dates. Inoni lives on a farm where she has horses, rabbits, and chickens. Here's what she says about her horses.
All of my horses except for 2 are black. Also, all of them except for 2 are brown. And all of them except for 2 are white.
How many horses does Inoni have? And what color are they? She has just 3 horses, 1 black, 1 brown, and 1 white. There was a diversity week at school, and one of the students was robbed. Detective Callum interrogated 3 main suspects. Eliza said she'd been working in the cafeteria the whole time. Asher pointed at one of the flags and said he'd been fixing it since it had been hanging upside down. Naya said that the student who had been robbed was her best friend, so she never would have done that. Who's guilty? Asher. The flag that was supposed to be hanging upside down is actually symmetrical. On a rainy day in the summer, a house in a small neighborhood was robbed while the owners were away. The police came to interrogate 4 neighbors. Everyone said that it had been raining. They'd been at home all day, eating and watching movies. Take a look at the houses. Who is lying? Reed is lying. Look, the ground under his car is wet, which means he arrived after it had started raining. So, he did leave his house. Miss Virginia Dell was a rich gentleman's daughter. She was staying at her hotel room when a security guard called her. He told her to run away since the criminal was going up to her room. Miss Dell ran to the elevators, but in each of them, there was a man. Which elevator is safe for her to use? The criminal obviously came from the first floor, and since this man is going down, it must be safe to go with him.
Really?
Dakota woke up in a dungeon. She couldn't remember what had happened. After wandering around for a while, she found out it was a vampire's castle guarded by the creature himself. Also, she found 3 chests. One of them was full of gold coins. Another was filled with silver coins. And the third chest was full of diamonds. Dakota could take any chest with her, but she wouldn't be able to get past the vampire anyways. What should the girl do? Dakota should take the chest with silver coins. Vampires are afraid of silver, so she'll be able to walk past him. Amelia is participating in a game show, and here is her last task. If she completes it, she'll win. She has cubes with these numbers. She should use 3 of them so that the sum total is equal to 30. Which ones should Amelia use? She should turn the cube with 9 over to get 6, and then use it along with 11 and 13. Sienna must leave the house in exactly 9 minutes. The power is off and her cell phone battery is flat. Sienna has 2 hourglasses. One measures 7 minutes and the other measures 4 minutes. How can she use them to measure exactly 9 minutes? Sienna should start both hourglasses at the same time. When the 4-minute hourglass runs out, she should start it again. 4 minutes will pass. When the 7 minutes hourglass runs out a bit later, she should start it again. It'll be 7 minutes. The 4-minute hourglass will run for 1 more minute together with the 7-minute one. When it runs out of sand, it'll be 8 minutes. Sienna should then flip over the 7-minute hourglass. It'll have sand in its top part for exactly 1 minute.
Mike has recently left his job. He's looking for a new, more exciting one. But so far, all his attempts have brought 0 results. Can you tell how many job interviews he has failed by looking at his apartment? Take a look at this schedule on the wall. In the previous month, Mike marked all working days with green color, and the weekends were red. At that time, he most likely still had his job. And the current month has 6 stickers with the letter I. Ike has most likely attended 6 interviews. Mike was losing hope when he found a weird letter in his mailbox. An elegant little note said, "If you manage to figure out our phone number, call us. We'll offer you a dream job." Can you help Mike see the number? It's 713819. Mike called this number. A mysterious voice asked him to solve a riddle. I make 2 people out of 1. What am I? In a minute, Mike received an official invitation to his dream job interview. What did he answer? A mirror. When Mike arrived at the meeting location, he found a large, gloomy building in the middle of nowhere. The door slammed shut behind the guy's back as soon as he got inside. Mike found himself in a hallway with 3 doors. He noticed a boat, an insect spray, and an astronaut suit on the floor. The same mysterious voice said, "You can choose only 1 tool and 1 door. Good luck." There are venomous spiders behind the first door. A hungry lion is waiting behind the second door. And finally, there's a swamp emitting toxic fumes behind the third door. What should Mike choose to pass this test and stay alive? He should pick the astronaut suit and the first door. Spiders won't be able to bite through the suit. In the next room, the voice offered Mike to have a coffee break, but the guy had to choose wisely because only one type of snack was safe to eat. Can you help Mike pick the right food? There are human nails in the cupcakes and cockroaches in these chips. The color of the meat in this burger is very suspicious. This sushi set looks rather edible, but its smell attracts too many flies. Mike should choose these donuts. They look fresh and appetizing. The cafeteria was filled with people. The voice told Mike to find a thief among them. Can you help Mike get some bonuses for his attentiveness? This woman over there is the thief. She's hiding spoons in her pocket. After lunch, Mike headed for the next room, but before the guy got inside, he had to solve a riddle to open the door. Some will use me, others will not. Some remember me, others forget. I can't be picked up off the ground or tossed into the sea. You can only gain me with time. What am I? The correct answer is knowledge. Mike entered a beautiful party hall filled with people in costumes and masks. The voice told Mike to go find one ghost, one zombie, and one thief among these people. Look at this crowd very attentively. Can you see them? The guy over there doesn't seem to have legs, and he's levitating. He must be a ghost. Look at this woman's food. Only zombies would eat that. And the woman over there is the thief. Her diamond ring doesn't fit her finger. Also, the ring is very similar to this lady's jewelry set. Mike tried to open the next door and receive a new question immediately. I look flat, but I'm deep. Hidden realms I shelter. Lives I take, but food I offer. At times I am beautiful. I can be calm, angry, and turbulent. I have no heart, but I offer pleasure and freedom. No man can own me, yet I encompass what all men must have. What am I? Mike solved this riddle and entered the next room. Have you figured out the answer too? The correct answer is, I'm the ocean. Mike saw the next door, but whatever he did, he couldn't open it. He spotted an electronic lock on the door and a map of a maze on the wall. The voice said that Mike must solve the riddle to open the door. Can you help? If you go through the maze from start to finish, you'll get 6251. This is the code. When Mike finally entered the room, he saw a locked safe. The voice said that Mike's task was to open the safe. What buttons should he press? The puzzles present three colors: pink, white, and brown. Mike pressed the correct buttons and unlocked the safe, but he only found one small coin inside. The next room was empty, except for an old vending machine in the corner. Mike came closer and noticed a small key inside the machine. Suddenly, the walls began to move. The room was getting smaller and smaller. The voice told Mike to be careful because the vending machine was broken. Some wires were torn and mixed up. Which button should Mike press to get the key out and get out of the room before it's too late? Mike should use the coin from the previous challenge and press the fourth button. Then the voice asked Mike to find the odd image in this pattern. Can you help the guy? The couple over there is different. In another room, Mike met a nice elderly lady, Miss Jason. She was very upset because someone had broken into her apartment. Mike's task was to find the robber. He inspected the crime scene and questioned 3 witnesses. The cleaning lady, Sarah, said that she'd finished her work at 11 p.m. and left. Billy, a passerby, said that he'd seen a suspicious man in a mask in Miss Jason's window. Kelly, the neighbor, was visiting her boyfriend in another city. Who's lying? Billy. He's a passerby and just met Miss Jason. Then how come he knows which window is hers? It got very dark outside, but Mike's weird quest continued. He entered a jewelry store and its owner explained the guy his next task. Someone had broken into the store and taken the most expensive diamond jewelry. But luckily, the robber left their fingerprints on the shards of broken glass. There are 3 suspects: a werewolf, an elf, and a zombie. Can you help Mike find the real robber? It was the elf. He's the only creature among them with human-like fingerprints. Another door led Mike into a creepy lab. There, he saw a mad scientist playing a strange game with his patients. He asked them to choose between 2 pills. One of them was a harmless capsule with vitamins, while the other one was a sleeping pill. Somehow, the scientist managed to get the harmless pill every time he played this game, and his opponents always fell asleep. How was this possible? And what should Mike do to pass this test? Both pills were actually harmless. The scientist added a special substance to the glasses of water he offered his patients to wash down the pills. So, to stay awake, Mike should switch the glasses or simply refuse to drink any water. The next door was locked, but Mike saw 6 buttons with the images of a candle, fire, gloves, scissors, an apple, and a light bulb. The voice said, "I was carried into a dark room and set on fire. I wept, and then my head was cut off. What am I?" 1 minute later, Mike was already walking towards his next challenge. What button did he press to open the door? The button with the candle on it. Suddenly the lights went out. Mike slipped and fell into a swimming pool. Someone turned the light on again and Mike saw 3 identical ladies in the pool. All 3 of them looked like ordinary women and claimed to be human. But in reality, 2 of them are mermaids. How can Mike find the real woman among them? He can dive and find the one without a tail. The mermaids told Mike that they wouldn't let him out of the pool until he solved another riddle. "I'm so fast you can't see me, although everyone else can see straight through me. I'm with you until your last breath. What am I?" Can you help Mike solve this riddle and escape? The correct answer is the blink of an eye. The mermaids let Mike go, and he entered the next room. On a huge screen, there were 2 guys. The first one was taking a selfie with a tornado. The second one was standing under an umbrella in the middle of a thunderstorm and taking pictures. Mike had to decide whose behavior is riskier. The tornado is very close. Therefore, the first guy is in greater danger. At the same time, the second guy will have enough time for another couple of shots. In the next room, Mike saw 5 zombies behind bars. All those guys were suspected of stealing a car. Mike had to decide which of them was the thief. Have you guessed? The guy on the left is sweating a lot, and zombies don't sweat and don't drive cars. He must be the thief. He's just wearing zombie makeup. Mike entered a kitchen. His task was to decide how many people lived in the house. Can you guess? Three people. There are 3 different drinks on the table and 3 chairs. Now look at this bathroom. How many people live in this apartment? Just one. Take a look at this lonely toothbrush. And how many people live in this place? Two people. Look at the family portrait. Mike saw three musicians rehearsing for a performance in a garage. The voice announced his next task: to find one suspicious detail. Have you already spotted it? There's something wrong with this fire extinguisher. Finally, Mike found himself in an ordinary street. The voice said they had only one last question. What's the time? Mike had to choose between three options: 7 a.m., 3 p.m., or 11 a.m. Can you help Mike figure out the right time? The correct answer is 7 a.m. The streetlights are still on, but the sun is casting shadows from the east. Congratulations, Mike. You're hired.
Karen had to go to the hospital the other day. As soon as she entered the building, she felt there was something wrong about that place. Walking along the corridor, she saw two nurses. Which nurse is fake? The one on the right. Look, her shoes are dirty and she barely knows how to hold a syringe. Stay away from her, Karen. Adam is a successful IT specialist who works 24/7 from home. He rarely goes anywhere, but a week ago, he decided to go on vacation. He packed his bags and left. A week later, when he came back, he instantly noticed there was someone in his apartment while he was away. Since he lives alone, he immediately called the police. Why? Before he left, there was a bin full of papers and candy wrappers. When he came back, the bin was empty. Adele just loves traveling and does it any time she can. She took some days off and headed to the airport to go to a new destination. That morning, there were only 4 flights: Paris, departing at 7 a.m., New York, departing at 7:30 a.m., Los Angeles, departing at 8:05 a.m., and Sydney, departing at 8:10 a.m. Where's Adele flying? To Sydney. Look at her suitcase. It has several stickers on it. A sticker with the Statue of Liberty means she's already been to New York. The one with the Eiffel Tower means she's traveled to Paris. And look at the I Love LA sticker. Hey, have a good time in Australia, Adele. Ryan owns a multi-billion-dollar corporation. It's been several months since he started searching for a new head of one of the departments, but he still hasn't found one. Looking through the new CVs his secretary left on his desk, he realized one candidate lied about their experience. Who was it? There are 3 CVs. Each of them has the candidate's age, work experience, and education. But how can someone born in 2000 have a PhD in economics? When Jessica came home from work, she noticed that someone stole an expensive painting from her bedroom, hanging right above the bed. She immediately called the police and explained what happened. She said she didn't touch anything in that room, and when she noticed the painting had been gone, she called them to investigate. The police arrested her on the spot. Why did they arrest her? Jessica said she hadn't touched anything, but the bed is perfectly made. If there had been a robbery, the bed would have been a mess. It wasn't possible to get the painting without stepping on it. A wicked troll caught Marge and locked her up in one of the rooms in his castle. He said it was impossible to get out of that room even though there were 3 exit doors. All of them were equipped with motion sensors. If Marge opens the first door, it'll start a mechanism that fills the room with toxic gas. If Marge opens the second door, it'll start another mechanism. A motion sensor will see the movement, and a super heavy weight will fall down immediately. Behind the third door, there's a swarm of venomous mosquitoes no one can get through. Despite it all, Marge managed to escape. How did she do it? She tricked the motion sensor behind the second door into thinking it was her moving there. But in fact, she just threw her shoe in that room first, the heavy weight fell down, and Marge ran away without a shoe. You have 5 pencils. Green, blue, and orange ones are short. Red and yellow pencils are long. You need to arrange them in a special order. Long pencils are next to each other. The green pencil is between the orange and the red pencil. The pencils on the edges are of different sizes. The fourth pencil is short. The correct order is yellow, red, green, orange, blue. You work in a supermarket and need to arrange 3 boxes from lightest to heaviest. You know that the yellow box is heavier than the black one. 2 black boxes weigh the same as the yellow and pink boxes combined. Okay, this was pretty simple. First goes the pink box, the lightest one. Then you need to put the black box, and then the yellow one, the heaviest. Hey, you got to do weird things at work. Detective Hugh followed a criminal. Unfortunately, he didn't know what he looked like because the criminal would always wear a hood and large sunglasses. The detective knew exactly that he was hiding in one of the 3 houses in Maple Street. When Hugh came up to the first house and knocked on the door, a man opened the door and said he lived alone. He also said it had been several days since he last left home. He claimed he didn't know anything about that criminal. The detective inspected the house and instantly realized the man was lying. How did he understand it? There's an umbrella hidden behind the sofa. The umbrella is wet and there is a small puddle on the floor. This man is either the criminal or he's trying to hide one. Mike was driving back home in Chicago in winter when a blizzard started. The weather was awful, and Mike thought it would be safer to spend a night in a hotel and wait until it stopped snowing. The hotel was a bit iffy, but since it was for one night only, Mike thought it was okay. The next morning when he checked out and came up to his car, he noticed something was wrong and called the police. What was the problem? The car is covered with snow. It's okay since it's been snowing all night long, but the windshield is clean, which means someone must have taken his car. Simon grabbed a really nice muffin in the cafe and put it on his office desk. He wanted to save it for later and eat it at the coffee break. But when he came back from a meeting, he saw someone had eaten his muffin. There are only 3 people who could do that, and only one is telling the truth. Jack says it was Ashton. Ashton says he didn't eat anything. Tyler says he didn't eat anything either. Who ate the muffin? It was Tyler. Only one person is telling the truth, and it's Ashton. If Jack or Tyler told the truth, then it would be 2 people who were telling the truth. But Simon knew only one person wasn't lying. A vampire recently moved to a big city where nobody knew him to start a brand new life. Still, he just couldn't help it and started biting locals every single night. People got scared and asked Detective Ryan to help them out. A couple of days later, he already had 3 suspects. All of them recently moved to that city. Ryan visited all of the suspects, and he was sure he found the notorious vampire. Who is the vampire? Well, the man on the left has loads of garlic in the kitchen, and vampires can't stand it. The second suspect has lots of silver cutlery in the kitchen, and he doesn't mind eating with a silver fork. No vampire can do that. The guy in a hoodie is the vampire. Hey, looks like someone has to move again. A man went to a houseware store to grab something for his new apartment. If he grabs one good, it costs $1. If it's 13, it costs him $2. If it's 138, he'll pay $3. What did he buy? The goods he needed were the numbers for his apartment doors. He lives in apartment 138, so he bought 3 numbers for $1 each. A scientist created a robot, Jason, who looked exactly like a human. One day, Jason ran away from the scientist's house because he wanted to start a life on his own. Hey, maybe he could be roommates with that vampire. The police started looking for him immediately, but the scientist had no photo of Jason. They soon realized Jason was hiding in the swimming pool and went there to investigate. There were 4 men in the swimming pool claiming they had spent almost an hour swimming, and the police asked them to do one thing to prove they're not robots. This way, they found Jason in no time. What did they ask them to do? They asked them to show their hands. Those who had wrinkly fingers after swimming were real people. The one with smooth hands is a robot. Emily told her boss someone had stolen the report she prepared for the meeting. She also added that she had noticed someone come in wearing a hoodie to hide their face, a black tracksuit, and gloves. This person also had a ring with a large gem. The boss didn't believe her. Why? She said the person was wearing gloves. Then how did she see that ring then? Emily must have simply stained that report with coffee she drinks all the time.